about your best day ever, what comes to mind? As we come out of another long Canadian winter, maybe a sunny beach vacation, or maybe a trip to an exotic locale, touring and seeing the sights. And what if you could travel there with all of your best friends? Yeah, that would be the best. Since its first international tour to Australia in 1990, the Youth Singers of Calgary have been taking their show on the road, traveling to over 20 countries on 5 continents, touring with as many as 140 participants, as was the case in China. As ambassadors for their city, province, and country, these singers have brought the gift of song to the world. However, the gift they have received in return is equally as powerful.
Celebrate, celebrate.
For hundreds of young people, these touring experiences formed a global viewpoint and instilled a wanderlust to see more and experience more, to go out into the world, to do and be more.
Gonna have a party, join the fun and celebrate, celebrate.
My name is Colleen Packer, and I was in Youth Singers from 1987 to 1997, and I am currently the Director of Global Learning at University of Calgary International. I would say touring with Youth Singers had a huge impact on me. For one, my very first trip outside of North America was the Australia tour. And so here's somebody who's, barely left Western Canada and already on a plane all the way to Australia, which was amazing. The Japan tour is a great example of that. I would have never gone to Japan outside of a Youth Singers tour, in my opinion, but it just instilled in me this huge love for the country and the culture. I went on to study Japanese. I went on to live there 2 more times over the course of the next number of years. And it really just instilled a love of travel and seeing different places and meeting different people and just realizing that there's this whole huge world out there and all these different cultures and all these different people and just so much more than was in my tiny corner of Calgary. Traveling with Youth Singers, you get to go beyond the surface of a country. You really get to see other sides of the country and places that no tourists would see necessarily. And I'm not just talking about backstage, because you do see a lot of backstage in another country, but just being able to experience the real culture and get to know people there and go into grocery stores and see how people live. And that's something that became really addictive and really spurred on my love of travel, and not just traveling places but living other places. I've lived in 7 different countries 9 different times for study and or work, and I can trace all that back to traveling with Youth Singers. And of course it's had a huge impact on my career, because my love of travel, my love of living different places, my love of studying different languages led me to a career in working with students who study abroad. And so currently I'm the Director of Global Learning at University of Calgary International. I started out as a study abroad advisor, and so encouraging University of Calgary students to go and spend a summer or a semester or a year studying in another country and really getting to become a local in that country. Travel changes people, and so anybody who's traveled can attest to that. You discover skills you didn't know you had. You work on your communication, you work on your patience, you work on your problem solving, your independence. And so studying abroad and spending time living abroad does that exponentially, even more than travel. And so the most rewarding part of my job, and why I've been at it for 20 years, is seeing just that transformational experience that it provides to students. Touring provided those very early lessons in becoming a global citizen. It really did show me that there was more to other places than just cool scenery and buildings. I got to meet people from other countries. I got to get to know all these different ways of doing things and perspectives and approaches to life, and it just really opened my eyes to the diversity that's out there. And going to places too where English wasn't the first language, and all of a sudden there was a language barrier and you had to figure out how to communicate. And you had very basic language skills, and you're trying to find directions or get answers to a question. And that really just opens your eyes to what everybody experiences and what newcomers experience coming to Canada, for example, and how frustrating it can be. And so there's so many lessons that I learned through touring that have stuck with me through many, many years since.
In its 30-plus years of touring, YSC has inspired many singers to set out on adventures of their own, to see the possibilities and find their place in this world.
Hi, my name is Julie Stiven.
My name is Brett Thiessen, and we've been in Youth Singers a long time. I've been performing with them since 1998.
And I joined the exact same year and have been performing and working as a staff member since.
So we've been on a lot of tours between the two of us, with all of our time we spent performing with Youth Singers. My first tour was Toronto back in 2005. But you went on a tour before that, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I started at the California tour, going to Disneyland. It was amazing.
Yeah. And then we went to Europe, where we were in Luxembourg, Germany, England, and France, and Scotland. Mm-hmm. Then we went to the Caribbean. We were in the Bahamas on a cruise there, and then spent some time in Florida at Disney World. After that,
we went to South America.
We
went to Brazil and Argentina.
Mm-hmm. And then we went to Hawaii, which was phenomenal as well.
Yeah. China. We went on the China tour, and then most recently, right before we moved to England, we went to Croatia, Italy, and Spain.
Yeah, and then everyone else flew home, and
we stayed.
We stayed.
Yeah, we didn't go home.
No.
Besides just having fun and having a new experience and being with friends and performing, touring has actually taught me a lot about the world and myself. I think tour really instills the sense of resiliency in you. You have to go with the flow. Sometimes things happen. I can remember the South America tour. That takeoff did not go as planned. All of us singers were in different states, provinces, places in North America, and we just had to go with the flow.
What I learned about myself touring, I guess it was just how little I knew about the world. You live every day in your city, in your province, in your country, and that's your whole world. And then you go to these other places, and they have that same experience, but it's totally different. And so you learn about how people live in different places all over the world.
Touring affected my career and life choices in the fact that we just came back from living in England for 2 years. I think without having toured so often and without having those experiences, it may have been a little bit more daunting and may not have chosen across the pond to go live.
Hi, my name is Emma Hopkins, and I was in the Youth Singers of Calgary for 9 years. Currently, I'm working in the real estate industry in London, England. I participated in 2 of the Disneyland California tours with Youth Singers and the Grand China Tour of 2015, where we spent 3 weeks performing in 7 different cities. My first time traveling internationally was when I was 15 years old, going to China with 50 of my best friends. It was the first real culture shock that I got, and it was the start of my craving for adventure. I am so fortunate to be given the career opportunities that I have so far, but a large part of these opportunities exist also because I'm just brave enough to put myself out there, meet new people, and ask for what I want. Without a doubt, I know that my involvement in Youth Singers is the sole cause for that part of me. The brave and confident part that has allowed me to be successful in any career that I chose.
Hi everybody, my name is Caroline. You know me as Delaney, but now I'm Walker. I was part of the program for 25 years on and off, and now I work for WestJet. Aloha from Hawaii. I was lucky enough to go to Europe. Well, that Europe tour was life-changing. It taught me that even though oceans might divide us and we might not all speak the same language, We do share a lot of the same common values, and we have a lot more in common than 20-year-old me really realized at the time. So how did touring with Youth Singers influence my life and career choices? Well, it influenced it in a major way because, like I said before, that 95 tour to Europe was incredibly life-changing for me. It introduced me to a new way of traveling. And then the Festivals at Sea tour, the cruise around the Bahamas, that brought us to Disney, and that had a huge influence on me as well. I had already been doing some costuming and behind the scenes work in theater, and it showed me the inner workings of the biggest showbiz company in the world. And so in a perfect world, I was like, there must be a way to combine both, and there was. I got a job as a costume designer for Club Med Resorts. And then when I came home from that adventure, Monica, via Senor Fastenage, she was already working for WestJet, and she was the one that recommended that I apply and work at WestJet. And so my friendships through Youth Singers got me that job. Music really is an international language. Everybody can come together and share a moment and feel a song together and all experience that magic.
And now, a whole new generation of singers are ready for their adventure to begin.
My name is Colby Byrd. I'm in junior high and I've been in Youth Singers for 4 years. What I imagine tour being like is me and my friends going around to different parts of the world and showing what the Youth Singers of Calgary really is.
I think my advice for any new youth singers going on tour, one is you don't need nearly as much luggage as you think you do. Two is really just about bringing your curiosity, bringing an open mind, bringing a sense of humor, bringing a lot of patience, because often when it is large groups, there can be waiting for other people. Everybody travels in a different way. Some people have different attitudes towards time than you do, and so just taking it all in without judgment and making the most of the opportunity. You can sleep when you get back. I think something else that's so remarkable about Youth Singers is the acceptance. You have so many different people and everybody is welcome at Youth Singers. Everybody has a home at Youth Singers. And I think that's such an important thing for Youth Singers to bring elsewhere in a world right now that seems so polarized and seems so divided and where everything just seems so binary and so black and white. Youth Singers has this message of acceptance and of you can be different and you can have different opinions and think different things, and you may not agree on everything, but you can come together and produce this amazing show and accept each other despite your differences, despite your disagreements. And that's, I think, such an important message right now around the world.